So in the previous video, we made the body of our coffee mug. In this video, we focused on making the handle. So yeah, let's get into making our handle. Making a handle is pretty simple, to be honest. Okay, let me just reduce this panel size. But let's go through the first step. So the first step of adding your handle is adding something called a curve. Now, how you add a curve is you go through add, curve, and bezier curve. Let me just quick move this to move, and then move my curve to the right. Now, just to quickly explain what's a curve. A curve is a flexible path made of control points that you can shape into smooth, flowing lines. Unlike a regular mesh, which are built with vertices, edges, and faces, curves are ideal for creating rounded shapes like handles or ropes because they can allow you for easy adjustments and have a smooth transition from straight to curve. By adjusting control points, you can create complex shapes without needing to edit vertices. So that's it. That's basically what a curve is. Now, I'm very sure you're asking, okay, what are the control points? You can't view your control point in object mode. You can only view it in edit mode. So if I should quickly go to edit, object, edit, and boom, this is where your control points are. These are your control points. And then this, if you've ever done anything with keyframes and all of that, you would understand what these are. So this is your major control point, and then these are the handles. They help influence the curve shape by controlling the direction or smoothness of the curve. So these are what you're going to use basically to control the smoothness and the direction of your control points. So just know that your control points, these are your control points, but within the control points you have something called handles to control the direction and the smoothness of your curve. Now, if we quickly create our handle, I would want you to select your control point. Select this control point. Now, just go out of objects mode, or rather edit mode. Select your cup. Press tab to go into edit mode. We're going to pick where we want our handle to go. So once you select your model, let's quickly see where we want our handle to be. As you can see, our handle should be at the middle of our cup. So if we want that to be really precise, what we can do is we can press 1, hit 1 on your keyboard, which will take you to vertex mode. Select your this vertex. Now remember our cursor. Now we want our cursor to be moved to where this vertex is. Now this is where we want our handle to start. We can adjust it later to be a little bit down, but right now we're just trying to get it to be aligned before we can make our adjustments. So just do Shift S, which will bring up your cursor menu, and then cursor to selected, and your cursor is now where the vertex is. So what you can now do next is come to your curve, select one of the handles, you hit Shift Select, and then you put selection to cursor. Now remember that our previous one we did cursor to selected, so the cursor came to our selected, but now we want our selection to come to our cursor. As you can see, we're having a really weird thing with the handles. So what you want to do is select your control point and then press S on your keyboard and then just scale it down. So what that will do is it will scale down your handles, and using your control point as the center. So as you can see now, we have even though it's a bit tilted, we've figured out a little bit later, but we have our handle a little bit controlled here. So yeah, let's do the same thing for our other control points. So let's press tab to go to object mode, go to select our cup, and go to edit mode by pressing tab. Let's select the vertex just below the first vertex you selected. So just come to that vertex and do Shift S, and then cursor to selected. As you can see, our cursor is going to play a very important role when it comes to modeling, because you can use that to just quickly have precise navigation or precise movement. So now our cursor is there. We can now come to our curve, hit tab, select our control point, Shift S, selection to cursor, and now we have this. Don't worry, just same thing. You scale down you press S, you hit S, you scale down your control points, or your handles rather. As you can see, we're having something similar to a handle already. If you want to individually scale your handles, it's simple. You just select your handle and then you hit S, and you can individually scale that. So let's go on to adjusting points so we can better fit our reference. So when you go back to edit mode, you go to your handle, you pull it all the way down. We want to try our best to match with this as best we can. We want to take this as well. We pull it up to fit our reference. Remember, just left click on it. When it's active, you can control rotation, scale, or location. So once it's where we want it to be. Now, like I mentioned earlier, all your transformation tools apply to your handles, right? And if we should simply just if we want to create something like this, we would have to control our handles and control points to fit the direction of what our reference is looking like. So let me just simply do that. If I come here and I rotate, I'm just going to rotate this on the y-axis. If I rotate this on the y-axis, you can see that our handle is beginning to bend toward this direction. So if I should do that a little bit more, and then if I should come here and do that, you can see that the top and the bottom are almost 90 degrees, and we can just imitate that and we should be fine. So if I should come and do that now, if we want to expand or if we want to increase, for instance, you can see this is very protruded, so we can simply come to our handles and press S and then scale, and you can see we are scaling our handle. Same thing applies to this. As you can see, it's not so scaled. So how you can tell it's scale, because that's the most important thing when it comes to curve and Bezier curve and controlling the points. It's the scale. You can tell it from its handles. So you can see that the closer the handles are to the control points, the less scaled it is. The farther they are, the more scaled it is. So just have that in mind. The closer they are, the less it's scaled. The farther they are, the more it's scaled. So you can see we're kind of just shaping this sculpting this into what our handle should be. You can go ahead and still scale this all the way up. Just going to do that. Scale this all the way up, and should come pull it down a little bit more. Pull it up a little bit more, and let's rotate this as well. Rotate this a little bit. As you can see, there's a little elevation before it starts going down. So we just want to imitate that. If I should do the same here, you can see that we're beginning to have a handle, and yeah, we pretty much have a handle now. If I want to increase this more, we can. Remember that you can scale the control points and the handles individually. You can move and rotate the handles as well individually, just to control the shape of your curve, basically, your Bezier curve. So just remember that all these are available to you to control, deform, and basically just shape your curve into whatever you want. So we could make from this curve, we could make a snake, we could make a pipe, we could make this in so many different things. Once you successfully deformed your handle, fits your reference or whatever you're making it after, what we can now do is, so with the curve selected, go over to the properties panel on the right side of your screen and find the object data tab. The object tab is a green icon shaped like a curve, so this is it. Once you've gone there, scroll down to geometry section within the object data properties. So this geometry section controls our thickness of our curve. Under the geometry, let's look at the bevel. and under the bevel, make sure this round option is selected, and click on and left click on depth and scroll to the right or left. So left would decrease your thickness or your depth, and then scrolling into the right will increase the depth, the thickness. So now you can see we have we do have some thickness to our curve. If you add the thickness to your curve and you feel like your model is a little bit weird, you can still adjust it while still seeing the geometry. For instance, I feel like this is a bit too straight, so I'm just going to rotate it a little bit more to give it that arc feel. And I feel like this is a little bit too high, so I'm just going to pull it down. The beautiful thing about the Bezier curve is you can still make adjustments even after adding thickness. So this is an example of non-destructive workflow, being able to retain the originality of whatever object you're working on while adjusting additional settings. So as you can see, it's not our model is still not the smoothest. In the subsequent video, we're going to polish everything here, but I just want us to have a base for it. So what we can also do to help us a little bit later, we can increase the smoothness of our bevel. If I just increase this a little bit, you can see there's a difference between 0 and let's make it 10. So you just want to increase that to 10 just to give it a little bit more smoothness. We're going to smooth it a little bit more later, but for now this will do. I feel like my handle is a little bit thin, so I'm going to increase the depth a little bit more. I can see that it's a little bit rotated to the side as opposed to being straight. So what I can do is I can just left click on my control point and then rotate it until it's straight. Yes, this looks straight to me. Is this straight? Yeah, that looks straight to me as well. So now we do have the base of our handle and our cup in total. Let me just, what you can also do is, if you don't want this hole, you can scroll all the way down to bevel, and then you can fill caps. So what that's going to do is it's going to close the hole you have on your Bezier curve. If I turn it off, you see we have a hole. Or if I tell it to fill the caps, it's going to add a face to that. Let's see if I want this to be a little bit more inside, so that everything looks fine. So we have that now. So yeah, that's it. If you want to make some more adjustments, you can just come to make sure that your curve is selected. Because if you don't have your curve selected, for instance, if I select this, you'll see that we do not have our curve settings anymore. So make sure your curve is selected. You can come here, you can increase the depth, you can increase the resolution. We can make our model a little bit smoother with this, but I would prefer for us to do it in a different way, so that we can have a non-destructive workflow. But you can go ahead and mess with most of the settings. We can go over all the settings some other time, but we just need the base. I just want you to know the basis of, for instance, creating a curve or a handle in Blender. There are different ways to create a handle in Blender. This is just one of the easier and a bit more straightforward process of creating a handle. I feel like my handle is a little bit too long, so that's also something I can do. I can just keep adjusting this until I feel like it's right. So just make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're just constantly adjusting. Remember that in 3D, it's not about how fast you go. It's not about how good you are. It's about how much time you want to spend reiterating, readjusting certain aspects of your model. So just keep that in mind. So now, as you can see, this is a different model on its own, and it's still a curve. So this is not a mesh in any way. A mesh is basically something that has actual geometry, but in this case our curve is a curve. It does not have actual geometry. It's using the object properties panel to simulate geometry. So yeah, we've come to the end of this video. For a take home, how about you try adding a curve, try making it into a different shape, maybe a circle, maybe just messing with your handles and your control points. In the next video, we'll be going over how to convert your curve into a mesh and attach it to your mug. This process is pretty simple. See you in class.